Hey guys, welcome back. This is Faisal Khan, and in this video, we're going to talk about the Amazon Connect architecture operational excellence. Now, in order to maintain your environment properly, your day-to-day operation and availability of your services has to be as at best. Now, operational excellence include the ability to run, monitor your systems to deliver the business values, and continue improving your supporting process and procedures. So in this video, we're going to look at some of the design principles, best practice, questioning around the operational excellence for your contact center workload. First of all, you need to make sure that you have an AWS account with a proper setup. With AWS organization, you can set up multiple AWS accounts for each level of your development, staging, and quality assurance environment. Now, this, of course, allows you to centrally govern your entire environment as you grow and scale your workload on your AWS account. Now, whether you are growing a startup or a large enterprise, AWS organization helps you maintain a centrally managed billing and control access. So let's say that you want to deploy an Amazon Connect into multiple regions. So let's say you have a region for Singapore and a region in US and Canada, and you decided that you want to run separate Amazon Connect. What it makes sense is to have an organization but two separate AWS accounts. Now, you could have one AWS account for Singapore, one AWS account for US, Canada, and then you have a master AWS account that where both of these sub account can be managed from. Or you can manage the Singapore AWS account under the US parent company. This way, you can centralize all your account in a central location for billing purposes, controlling access, compliance, and of course, security. Now, to show you an example, so right now I'm on my AWS account, and when I go to AWS organization, you can see AWS organization where I have multiple account under my master account. So I have root, which is the current account that I'm logged in. Under that, I have three separate accounts, one for production, one for classroom training, for example. So anytime I'm teaching a class, I use an account that is basically designated for any sort of training. And of course, I have an account that is designated for production itself. Now, you can control some of this, like master account and then sub account to that. So these are some of, you can run policies, you can control what services they can access, what actions they can take by creating policies for that. So it's important that you have the proper architecture structure for your operational excellence. Now, the region selection in Amazon Connect, region selection is contingent upon data governance requirement because Amazon Connect is a telephony environment, meaning that you have to follow the regulation, telephone regulation of that particular country or the region that you're actually deploying it. For example, in North America, you got FCC that manages the telephone and telecommunications requirement. In Canada, for example, you have CRTC, and then various countries they have their own regulatory body that you must follow. Porting numbers under the telephony, when you're porting numbers, you gotta follow certain requirement. Some country you may not be allowed to port number at all, where some countries it does allow you to do that. When you are porting a number for a critical workload, you want to make sure that you include all the requirement and case information in your claim or port number, such as your organization details, your billing invoices, so that Amazon can make the decision whether the porting number eligibility is met or not. For example, if your invoice shows that your company name is Voice Bootcamp Inc. Incorporation, but the account that you created on Amazon Connect happens to be Voice Bootcamp LLC, it's not going to match. Okay, so if you are going to port a number, and again, this is one of the reasons why you want to create a separate account for that. For example, when you register a company in Singapore, your corporate structure may not be the same as if you have a company in the US. For example, in Singapore, you may have a company called Voice Bootcamp Limited, Ltd. Whereas in Canada, US, your company name might be Voice Bootcamp LLC. In Canada, it could be Voice Bootcamp Inc. So there are different. You get a Voice Bootcamp Inc., Voice Bootcamp LLC, and Voice Bootcamp Ltd. or Limited. The problem with that is that if your phone number has a different company name and your account number is using a local company name like Singapore Ltd, then you are not going to be able to port the number. So make sure that if you are creating an account for Singapore or India or Africa, wherever, that your account organization should reflect the country's corporation structure. And it should also match the phone number and invoices from that particular region. Now you also have to look at the carrier diversity in US. You should use Amazon Connect telephony service for all US toll-free numbers. By doing so, it will allow you to route toll-free traffic across multiple suppliers in an active fashion at no additional charges. However, in a situation where you are forwarding an inbound traffic to an Amazon Connect number because you cannot port a number, then you should request a redundant DID and a toll-free number across your telephony providers. If you are claiming or porting a multiple DIDs or telephone number outside the United States, you should request that those numbers be claimed and ported to a variety of telephone providers in order to increase your resiliency. So simply porting a number is not enough. You may have to contact the Amazon team, say, hey, I'm moving this number into your account. Can you make sure that it is highly redundant, right? Because sometimes they may not be. International toll-free and high concurrency DIDs, if you're using an existing toll-free national service to redirect the inbound traffic to your Amazon DID, you should request the DID phone numbers across multiple telephony providers. In general, recommendation for this is that 100 session per DID, and your AWS solution architect can help you perform that capacity planning. Another thing that you need to keep in mind, testing. You want to do a complete thorough testing through in your different scenario cases, preferably using same or similar environment as your agent and your customer. So you want to run through a simulation to make sure that everything performs the way it should be or that has been doing up until now with your Amazon Cloud Contact Center. Also, you want to re-educate, retrain all your agents and your internal support team because your environment, on-premise environment, will be totally different than your cloud. So proper training, proper testing is vital to your operational excellence. Workstation, Amazon Connect, use Call Control Panel or CCP, which is a web interface that allows an agent to log in from their PC or mobile devices. So you want to make sure that all the specific hardware and network requirements are met, because if a users who are working from home, for example, due to post-COVID pandemic, a lot of agents are working from home and they all have different computers, different networks, right? So you have to have a guidelines to let them know that these are the network that has to be met. Maybe your corporation has to provide an adequate internet for those users in order to provide the services. So you need to use the internet network with the requirement for your Amazon Connect Call Control Panel to work properly. So make sure your firewall ports are open. Make sure your workstation has a proper, software, CPU, memory in order to handle the calls. Most of the cases a problem might occur is that when an agent is using a Google Chrome or Firefox to log into the control panel or agent desktop, usually what happens is the firewall or your mic not being allowed, your speaker may not be allowed, and therefore agent get into various problems in that scenario. So setting up monitoring for your agent workstation, consider partner solutions, CloudWatch to monitor all the workstation of those employees. Now, again, if the employee is using a corporate devices, so corporate devices most likely will have some sort of monitoring capability, and you want to use the CloudWatch to monitor those devices for their optimal performance. All right, so these are some of the stuff that you want to make sure that operation in order to achieve the best operational excellence service for your contact center. All right, so that's it for this particular video. In the subsequent video, we're going to talk about security aspect of your Amazon Connect.